Hi, and welcome to the Spoken Word with Raz. I'm your host, Raz, and with me today is the wonderful and terrible Morgan. How are you, Morgan?
I am good. Nice. Lovely to speak to you this evening. Apparently, I can't get words out anymore. How are you this evening, Raz?
I'm good? Question mark? Question mark? Life will move on.
As it has a tendency to do. Yes.
Yes, as the seconds tick by.
Yes.
Oh, how have you been?
Yeah. Keeping it together, keeping things moving, preparing for a gig that I've actually got this Sunday because I am working on music stuff as we discussed a couple of weeks ago. Keeping on top of it, I've been trying to make sure I've been doing my theory a little bit every day, working towards a goal. So yeah, hopefully at some point you might get some actual songs, original songs out of me, maybe. But in the meantime, the recording should be going up over the next few days. So yeah, I'm feeling fairly productive.
Awesome.
Yeah,
You,
how have you been? What have you been up to?
you've been having an existential crisis. Those are uncommon for me. Not at all. Pretty much my whole life is a giant existential crisis.
I can completely relate to that.
Oh, but yeah, no, life is pretty good overall though. Could be way worse.
I don't know. I do feel like we're going to have to get into what this existential crisis is all about. Like, you can't lead with something like that and then just fall off the side of it and just be like, "But that's nothing. Don't worry about it."
I mean, I'm pretty sure that my whole life is don't worry about it.
I mean, that is a synopsis for life, I guess.
But no, I yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. But no, that is awesome that you have a gig and everything going up. You
Yeah.
excited?
I am nervous at the same time, just because it's been a while since I've had to do sort of like a 3 hour set from memory. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I've been putting in the hours for it, doing the practicing and things like that. So yeah, fingers crossed everything's going to go smoothly. And at the end of the day, it's a venue that I've played plenty of times, and they're always happy to see me. So if nothing else, it'll be a good laugh. Um, so yeah, they're the sort of people that I can walk in and go, I'm a bit rusty, so this might go badly, and they'll just pick up the pieces that they'll sort of like sing the bits that I miss, sort of thing. So yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a strenuous gig, but yeah, I'm keen. I'm keen. I'm feeling optimistic and positive about it. And just it's as always, it's the other end of the day, where I am to where you are. So I'm sort of like straggling on just before I go to bed.
Right,
Yeah, I
right.
don't sound as excited as I actually am.
We maybe should just do these as recordings in the morning when you're actually energized. Maybe.
Maybe that's definitely
Maybe.
something to throw out there.
Because I can do this for no matter how tired I am.
Yeah, you're born for this.
I have energy for days. Energy for days. Years, life.
Oh,
I could power a whole nuclear city. I'm just saying.
yeah. No, I wish I could, but as per my spirit animal, Baloo the bear from the Jungle Book, like I'm someone that needs to sleep intermittently between eating, dancing, and randomly singing.
Oh yeah. I think for me it's just it gets my head my, how do I explain this? Okay. For me, I just don't sleep very well. My brain never shuts the fuck up. Like when I do sleep, it's awesome. Also, we're past the minute mark. You can curse as much as you want. Uh, you know, I I don't sleep well. Even when I do sleep well, it's like pretty restless sleep at this point. Could be a number of different things. Like the sad part is I still prefer this over when I was depressed because when I was depressed, I was sleeping all the time and I was still feeling tired. At
Yeah.
least I can wake up, do things. It wears me down. Don't get me wrong. It wears me down, and then I sleep all day. That happens sometimes. But
Yeah.
overall, yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of energy, and I'm glad I have a lot of energy. Um, Boredom is my ultimate killer, and it happens sometimes that I get super super bored.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand this whole thing of all I want to do is have fun all the time. How do you have fun all the time? What is it that you do? Are you actually capable of this, or are you pretending?
I mean, it's really not. I mean, it's more like an idiom sort of thing. Like it's not tangible, is it? I don't think anyone's ever really having fun all the time, even if they portray themselves to be that way. That's why social media is such a lie.
Yeah.
Because you know, I mean, if that's not the thought that you have scrolling down a social media feed, it's like, how is anyone this happy all the time? And you must be removed from reality in some way. Because that's generally what I think when I'm scrolling down social media. Like, no one's this happy all the time. No one's life is as perfect as it's made out to be on Instagram. Like,
But I don't think it's sustainable. Is the biggest thing. Like, even if people are pretty energized, it's not uncommon. Um, I look at all these comedians who we find out were depressed and stuff like that, or that their lives in the background weren't that great, right? But they
yeah,
portray themselves as always like this. It's like, I think that's most people. They don't like either. They don't want people to see their problems, or they think that if they're having fun or doing this, like their lives are better, or that it's making up for what they lack. You know,
mm,
um, and I think a big part of depression is just that lack of uh I keep going back to purpose, but it's just people aren't happy, and they don't know the answer to finding that happiness, and having it easy or all this other stuff is what makes them happy, but they're not fulfilled. And that dopamine hits become less and less common, you know, as you're burning out your brain.
yeah, yeah. I mean, depression is just a horrible monster, and it can be caused by all the sort of physical side effects. And you know, by all means, go down the checklist. But if you get to the bottom of the checklist and you drink the splashy things and you do the runny things and like, you know, you eat all the green stuff and you tick off everything down the list and you go and get your vitamin D and all that sort of stuff. But if you get to the bottom of the list and you're still feeling sad, then there's probably something deeper rooted that you actually need to deal with. Um, I'm not dismissing the fact that sometimes some people just need to get their asses up and get out and do something. It's not that they lack the purpose; they've just lost the motivation. Apathy has overcome them, and there are sort of like biological, physiological things that you can go through that will
Yeah.
lead you to depression. But let's face it, if you get to the bottom of all that, then it's not a physical thing. It's something that you are not tackling.
Well,
Um,
I would argue that that makes up that the mental is everything. That you can have any checklist you want, but until you're willing to actually, because again, I know too many people who are like, I'm going to do this one thing to make myself better, and then they thought, eating healthier, right? Eating healthier will make your body better, and it can help with your mind, but only when you have the full, like, you have to hit that acceptance level and not just stick to these things, or like, because again, it's believing this will fix your problem when it's literally just a function, one part of the puzzle. There is
mm,
no easy answer. The problem is that it's like, for me, figuring out the answer to my problems will always come back to who you are. And motivation, what when did we get this idea? Because I go back and I look at history and everything like that. Motivation and inspiration and stuff like that are fleeting things. You're not always going to have the motivation. There's a reason that we talk discipline, like, you go back, that discipline matters more than
Yeah.
motivation and inspiration. Yes, and as an artistics type, you do need inspiration, but you need inspiration to write a new song. You don't need inspiration to go out there and do the stuff that you already know,
I've got
or
plenty
to
of
learn it.
inspiration, thanks.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
no, no, this is you hitting the nail on the head because it's one of those, and you've had a life like mine. You've got plenty of inspiration, like it's
yeah,
painted pictures all over the place that I could quite easily turn into songs. Like so many stories to tell, so many stories to tell. But it's finding the discipline to sit down and actually make it coherent. That's the problem. That's the
yeah,
skill
yeah.
because I've got there's so many thoughts flying around in my head. Like, it's almost like you need a butterfly net to run around and catch them. Like, I'll grab that one. But like I say, it's the putting them down on the pages and then turning them into something that can actually be given, like shared with the world, as opposed to just kept as a thought in a book. So yeah, it's the discipline. I rack discipline.
Well, I talk about this. This is a big thing I have with a lot of creative types, including Ash. Ash is an artist and everything like that. She'll have these like writer, they're artist blocks, is what she calls them
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But she has all these unfinished works, and I've told her, it's like, no matter how much you might hate or dislike the work you're doing, finish it. Finish it, no matter what, no matter how much you hate it. Finish it, because you're learning nothing from the failure. Like, again, I would rather have a bad work done than trying to make perfection every time.
Oh, you're an artist's worst nightmare.
What's that?
I said you're an artist's worst nightmare.
Why is that?
Because we are a collection of unfinished thoughts. That's
Uh,
what we are. It's
that's
an
fair.
unfinished thought, and yeah, and then someone like you comes along and goes, "Finish it." And I go, "No, I don't want to." No, then that makes it a whole picture, and
Yeah.
then you actually have to deal with the whole picture as opposed to just being able to leave it as it is.
Well, what does an
We're
unfinished work? What does an unfinished work mean?
we're
So,
emotional creatures. This is the thing: is that we are, like, I said, call us we, artists by nature, are slightly more emotional creatures who put emotion into their work. So sometimes it's not because you just sort of like you've moved out of the space. It's not even like an emotional thing. It's just you moved out of the space when you're thinking about that particular thing. And then the moment's lost. If you lose the moment of magic, sometimes that's as bad as not ever having had a moment of magic at all. And sometimes you just go, yeah, no, I've got to leave that. I can't revisit it. There's something, I was speaking to someone about an old song that I wrote, and it was, yeah, it's like, no, I don't want to go back and change it now because it's an entity from that moment in time. It's a snapshot from a moment in time. I don't want to revisit it.
yeah.
Like, whereas you'll be like, no, do it anyway.
I mean, it's the same
Finish
thing as
it.
that. I was a writer for years, and I had horrible writer's block, and I know this better than anyone about incomplete works and looking at them. Like, I still do this where I look at my old works that from short stories that I wanted to make more or anything like that, and like, I can't say that they're good works and stuff like that, but I'm the same way. Is I didn't have discipline, and I've been working very hard at writing and stuff and having that discipline. Well, that sadly, I am one of the like writing is a little harder in certain ways because there are certain because if you lose your vocabulary, it's amazing how if you lose certain skills because you don't use them,
Oh, yeah.
how much that can uh and part of me feels like and there's this point where I realize, oh, this is why we have editors.
Good
uh
point.
Maybe, and I've gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? I should just write this all out, no matter what, and rewrite it a couple of times and then send it into an editor, and they'll tell me what I have to, and I'll find somebody who knows how to edit everything like that, and they'll tell me like how I should change a sentence or something like that. That might be great. It's like school again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and you have this moment, like I had this moment when I realized I've been reading a lot of, again, a lot of the best books had editors who helped a lot in fixing a lot of the issues, with the writing. That
Mm.
a writer has more than just themselves. Because it's not like writing a 3-minute song.
No. No, I know.
Uh,
I remember trying to do creative writing at school and just being like finding it almost like an impossible task.
no, and there's so much you need. Like, you have to do with a lot of those things. You have to keep up with so much information. You got to do the cue cards, or everyone has a different system.
Mm.
Um, for creativity, I am full of creative stories. I create a new idea every day
Mm.
that I don't even share with most people. Oh
Fair.
yeah, I'll create a whole scene in my head and replay it over and over and over and over again until I'm happy with it in my head.
And then do you write it?
No, it just gets cataloged with the rest of my stuff that I never forget because I'm neurotic like that.
Yeah, but you're not writing it down though, are you?
No. Well,
Right. So,
but I have no
so
inspiration, but I have no intentions of being a writer anymore. So for me, that's not my
it's like a
thing.
mental exercise sort of thing, a creative mental exercise that you do for yourself.
Yeah, keeps me sane. I mean, okay, like I have stories that I even created back in when I was in, high school and middle school, that I could regale you for hours on, from characters to the world that they live in to, um also you probably would not be very happy because a lot because I have no idea how to not put my characters through the fucking ringer.
No, good. That's how every good story is put together.
I punish them
Mm.
constantly.
As
Uh,
long as they're characters that you can follow and you like the whole, like your grip to, regardless of whether you like them or you dislike them, as long as you find character is
yeah.
the most important part of any narrative.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, is I think I make some pretty good characters overall with and you kind of understand the plight that they're going through, and again, I very much do focus on, and this has always been a thing, so probably why I'm not completely surprised at how I did this, but mental torment is a pretty consistent problem that my characters have to go through. Um
Is that because you're inspired by the old school comics, like the shadow type thing?
oh, I'm inspired by all, yeah, I love the medium. I love pop culture in general. Like I'm not even gonna pretend that's not a thing for me. I am a giant geek, and so yeah, I'm inspired by classic comics like Conan, The Shadow, and stuff from the pulps. Then you got actual superheroes. Like I'm probably uh this might surprise you, but I'm a giant fan of actual Superman, like legit Superman. Like I'm an actual, and I like Batman and everything like that.
No,
But
you've definitely said something to me about Superman before. You definitely said it's a specific moment in the Superman comic that you've referenced. Where you've
oh,
said, like, one of the moment that you knew that he was a superhero that you got like that. I remember you mentioning a scene from one of the comic books that you read regarding Superman. So you've definitely mentioned it to me before.
okay, but yeah, I like, even though I probably relate more to characters like Batman and stuff like that, I'm not gonna lie to somebody and say that I don't inspire to be like Superman. I'm never gonna have the superpowers and stuff like that, but high ideals even if they're not attainable, they're worth going for.
Yeah.
Like I said, the biggest thing for Superman is to be an inspiration, and the point of an inspiration is to live by an ideal and follow through. Um, and yes, your chances are you're probably going to fail more times than succeed, but uh, the biggest thing with Superman is he's not a superhero. I'll get into this one thing, and then we'll get into my whole thing with existential stuff. But Superman, as an ideal, is that he's a superhero because he can be. That we do things because we can do them, or that's what we should be getting back to. You know, figuring out
Yeah.
what it doesn't. And yeah, lofty ideas and everything like that. And yes, it's hard to live by those ideals. It is actually harder to walk that path than it is to walk other paths.
Yeah.
You know? Um and but that's all there is to that.
I think
Anyway,
I think if everyone spent a bit more time actually living up to the sort of same ideals and morals that they spouted, that the world would be a slightly more idyllic place. That might lead on to where you're going.
well,
Yeah.
right. Well, it's not just living by an ideals, the morals and ideals. It's not being like, I think my biggest thing. So I'm gonna get into that in a moment because first I want to talk about a little bit. Um, so the reality is I've been trying to figure out exactly why I'm doing this podcast.
Right.
What is the point of this podcast? I've thought a lot about this before I even started it. Um, And the realization I had is this is just therapy for me to talk and put my ideals out there, and if people like them, they like them. But hanging out with you, having these conversations, um, it's awesome. It's great having them actually open to the world and not just in my small corner of the internet in the dark
Yeah.
dungeons of Discord.
Yeah. I get that.
Um, I have a lot of people who believed in me and pushed me to do this, and now I'm here and hanging out with you and getting to talk these ideas. And not everyone's gonna like them. I do think I touch on a lot of harder, deeper subjects, and that's not gonna be everyone's cup of tea.
No, I don't think we agree on absolutely everything, and we've both got perspectives from slightly different cultures and different parts of the world. Like, as
Yeah,
much as we share a lot of the similar sort of interests and understandings of a lot of things, we do sort of like, provide it's somewhat of an interesting interaction. I enjoy it most of the time anyway. I'm sure someone else will probably find some interest in it, or at least I hope so. Anyway.
yeah,
But
yeah.
provided you and me are having a laugh, then it doesn't really matter, does it?
Nah, not really. I mean, to be fair, we do have jokes and laughs and stuff like that, but I do deal in a lot of harder subjects, and that is what I want to focus on and talk about these lofty ideals and pushing people forward. And I mean, what else? Like for you, what is the what inspired you to want to join the podcast? When I asked,
Um, well, I've always been somebody that, like, I have previously been somebody who always jumped at an opportunity when it came up. And I've had backgrounds in sort of doing radio and bits and pieces back when I did journalism, and it seemed interesting. I was flattered to an extent to think that anyone would actually want to hear what I've got to say about anything. To be honest, because I'm just a small town girl. So what I really know about the sort of grander scheme of things is quite minute, but I like to think I've accrued some wisdom over my years. But yeah, no, I just thought it sounds like a fun opportunity. We have some great conversations. If you think that other people would be interested in hearing that, then why should I get in the way of myself and stop myself from doing it, which is what I often do. So it was just a step in reclaiming who I was back before I sort of lost myself somewhere along the way, which I'm not sure when or how it happened, but yeah, I want to go back to being the sort of person that says yes to opportunities and to being myself a little bit more. So yeah, and like, why not? If it means that I'm going to grow and find a little bit more, like, I want to find happiness in myself. I don't want to sit and be the sort of, like, I do have a tendency to overanalyze, but generally I just want to be a bit happier. I want to be a bit more of I want to succeed a bit more in the things that I do put my mind to, and sometimes I just need a little bit of telling, I think. And I think you're the sort of person that motivates me to go, yeah, why aren't I writing some music? Why aren't I doing this? Why aren't I trying to be a better person? So
You
yeah,
you you want fulfillment. Like I said,
yeah,
I think for me, I don't have this drive to be happy. I mean, yes, that comes from a lot of negativity in my past, but I don't have a drive to be happy. I have a drive to be fulfilled. It seems like happiness, even for the short periods I have them, come more consistently now that I feel more fulfilled in my life in different ways.
mm,
Imperfect as it is. No, yeah, don't let me lie to anyone. It's not a perfect life. I do still get frustrated and everything like that, but I feel more fulfilled. It's, you know, um, I keep hearing this thing that it's hard to make friends as an adult, and by just throwing myself out there, I met you and all the wonderful people at, the Brad and Lex and Savage Patriot and all of them. Um, been a little busy with the podcast and other things in my life, but you put the work in. It's not as hard as you would think, but you got to be
no,
willing to put yourself out there more and trust. I don't know, trust in yourself or or for me, it's putting trust in other people that you'll like me or you won't. I stopped caring about the won't part.
yeah. See, I think I'm the opposite. I think I just need to have a bit more trust in myself that, like, I do make decent. I'm capable of doing things, and I'm a likable person because I sit there and will beat myself up over it. I won't. I'll spontaneously, I'm the sort of person that has no filter. So it's like, thought comes to my brain, goes out my mouth. Like,
Right,
there is no
right.
filter process. So I'll go out and I will just be myself. But then I will then come home and sit there and like, beat myself up over having been myself. It's the same as when I write lyrics. I will beat myself up about the things that are my thoughts.
Right.
And it's almost like that over. I'm at the opposite end of the scale, the over analytical side of on myself, and I will give. I'm quite happy to give everyone else a free pass, but not me. So I need to pull myself out of that and actually having a little bit more faith in myself and a little more belief in what I do, and because it's not that people don't believe in me, it's that I just then tell them that they're wrong.
Right.
And yeah, so I think it's yeah. I want when I say happiness, I think you are right. It's fulfillment. It's contentment is not happiness. It's just knowing that you've got all your eggs in your basket and they're your eggs. And you're
Well,
very proud of your eggs, and they're good eggs, and you go through hell to look after them. But you know,
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's for me. It's also, even if you don't have all your eggs, it's knowing that you can handle anything that life throws at you.
yeah,
No matter how frustrating, no matter how
I've got my
hard
egg.
it's.
Protect them.
My, because I'll tell you right now, my eggs are scrambled. Like they're all over the place. But I also live in a pretty chaotic space in my head and the things that I do. Because I think I only live by taking the opportunities given to me. I mean,
Yeah.
um, it's again, it isn't that I. So like this is going to be on my part, and I don't recommend this for everybody. But for me, I had a realization that anytime that I tried to put effort towards, towards certain things, I struggled. I would get a job or something like that, but it always ended up not being as good as when I would see an opportunity, I would take that opportunity, and like things would just like I started being able to spot those opportunities because I believe that everybody has these if you actually look. It
Yeah.
does take a lot of hard work once you have that opportunity. But I think the bad mindsets is that people will get a job, say at McDonald's, they hate their job and they won't change. Like, but for me, I'm like, no, you should take pride, even if it's at McDonald's. Take pride in your work, in your work. Fuck the other employees. Fuck the employer. If you are doing what you need to do and you work hard at it and have, like it'll make your life at that job easier.
Yeah.
And because people are always going to frustrate you. You're always going to have bad coworkers and stuff like that. But if you hold yourself to a higher standard, no matter what they do, they're not like that's not going to bother you.
See, I do
You know?
feel like I'm living that at the moment because, like, I'm doing a job that, last year when I was doing it, I was hating it and I was
Yeah.
really not enjoying it, and I was just sort of like getting sucked under. And now I do it the exact same job, but I go into it with a different mentality, and I just do it for me. And I get through my day, and I put in every bit of ounce of energy that I've got into it, and I feel good about it at the end of the day. And well,
Well,
my
yeah.
big boss, my main boss, my big site manager, he might not like me very much because I will speak my mind when when called upon, much to his
Regret.
displeasure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me because I go home and it's sort of like I find it very important, like after having done years and years of work where I come home stressed and I spend my whole night stressed and my weekend stressed. I think that being able to come home from work, draw a line under it, and then carry on with your day as if work is a different entity, a different thing, a different part of life that you can sort of like, yeah, it's nice to have and everything, and you can have fun there and you can enjoy it, but being able to just walk in through the door and then be able to say, no, that's it, I'm done with that. It's been hugely refreshing for me, but I find that I can do that when I know that when, like you say, when you go in, you do the best job that you can. It doesn't really matter what anyone else says, doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. As long as you know that you've done the best job you can go home and sleep easy that night. Draw a line under it, done.
Yeah.
All right.
You know,
So I can say that with practice over the last year, like those words in real life, 100% effective.
right? Then it goes into the second part of it, which is very
Oh,
important
good.
for me. There is a second part to this. Is once
You
you
always
learn
do
how to do
this.
yes, once you do that, then it's learning the second lesson.
Yeah.
That you can do things that benefit you that not only doesn't screw over somebody else, but also benefits them. You don't always have to sacrifice for others. You know,
Yeah.
being a benefit to yourself and doing the things that are best for you and really having a mindset and really thinking about this. Like, honestly, I think the big reason for the changes and why even I think you are hanging out with me is that I have learned that that is the biggest lesson is that I do things that not only benefit me, but do benefit others. That I don't have to do things to screw over others. That I don't
No,
have to treat people. I don't like treating people like stepping stones. That doesn't
no, that's a
mean
fair
that,
one.
what's that?
I said that's fair. That's a fair statement.
Well, we all talk about it, but the reality is a lot of us do that. But it doesn't mean that there aren't people who aren't just a step in your life, but I would rather have it where even if you are only just a part of my life for a little bit, that we not only walk away, that we both walk away feeling like we have gained something from the experience,
Yeah,
that we both have benefited. That that is my whole thing.
I think that's it. That's another thing that comes with age, though, is the ability to do that because I'm much more capable of doing that. Don't get me wrong, like I've got my pack of friends that I've had cultivated,
Yeah.
and sort of since I was in my teens, and they've been my family that have rolled with me ever since. But yeah, I think that when you're younger, it's easier to meet people. You meet so many people that you can, almost inadvertently. I think it comes back to again that you don't know who you are in everybody's life.
Yeah.
Like the perception that you have of yourself is not the same perception that everyone else has of you, and there are people that you could meet that are acquaintances to you that you mean a lot more to them, which you're less aware of as a younger person because you're just so involved in everything going so fast. Everything goes so fast when you're a youngster,
Yeah.
even 10
Yeah.
years ago, everything just like, I think in my mid 20s, my early to my mid 20s, life just seemed to move like in a New York minute sort of
Uh,
thing. And you're so less aware of the impact that you have on other people at that age. I think that's something that comes with age and wisdom. Unfortunately, I'd love to have been able to be 17 and be able to understand the sort of impact that I had on people's lives and the impact that they would have on mine in return and how to manage that. But
yeah.
mm.
Yeah. Hindsight. Hindsight is always 2020.
2020.
Yeah. Like, no, that is a completely fair statement. I will
However,
say, um,
I was just going to say, however, as a grown up, but it's definitely something that I consider more going into friendships and relationships with people.
oh, it's kind of funny is I actually, I feel like since I turned 30 and all the changes and, uh, going through all of the self-improvement, everything that I've done, it feels like it's been so long. It's only been 5 years, but that 5 years feels like an eternity to me. It feels like it's a lot longer ago than it actually is. And it
Yep.
feels so slow. Like, yeah, we're almost in August, and for me, it's amazing that we're almost in August because this year has already felt impossibly long. And not because of all, and it has nothing to do with any of the things that are going on. It's just, I think that's just the age and how I feel now and what I'm going through.
Mm,
Feels a lot longer. Where before it felt like time passed very quickly.
yeah. Flew
Uh,
by.
yeah,
Flew by. So it's amazing, isn't it? Because it's funny when you're when you're young, like a day passes and it feels like it's a year. You look back and it's like it's gone. Roadrunner, yip, yip. Gone. And but yeah, it's one of the things that I've been saying about with everything going on. Like these poor kids. A year when you're 15. Oh my god! You think what if you could just think about the things when you were like 15 years old at the end of a week, like the amount of social dilemmas that had happened over the course of a week, not just for you, but for all the people that you were acquainted with, that you witnessed, that you were just an innocent bystander to, the amount of things that would happen in a 5-day week in those few hours that you spent in those school, and in the hours around it, and how important it was. It was just so important at the time. I mean, I couldn't relay anything from that period of time. But I just think that now I look at like a 15-year-old having to spend like 3 months not going to school, and you just think, Oh my god! Like it'd feel like an eternity. It would feel like an
Yeah.
eternity. Yeah, I look back and I think, God, that flew by. My
Oh
God, did
yeah.
it fly by?
Oh yeah. Oh, and like you said, everything was at 11. There was always something going on. There was drama. There
Right?
was something fun to do. There was always things, things. Now that like things still happen to us all the time. Now it's just, but we don't focus on every little detail. We have like 3 problems or 4 problems, but those 4 problems are everything. Because every other
Yeah,
problem can
because
be solved if you can solve those 4 problems. Everything else will be fine.
well, I mean, like the thing is the problems are less superficial now, aren't they? Like they're actual, real implications. The older that you get, like
Yeah.
you know, the older you get, the more people rely on you, the more a simple thing can be massive. But yeah, no, I say that. Like, yeah, it does come down to like 3 or 4 core issues when you grow up, doesn't it? Whereas back then, I mean, it could be anything. Jesus.
Yeah. Well,
Excuse my blasphemy, but yeah, it could be literally anything. It could have been. I remember fights over like rulers.
right. Well, one of the things like we all talk about this, and I hate telling people this, but I don't think bullying is going anywhere because to fix bullying, you'd have to fix some fundamental thing. Um, like usually for bullying and stuff like that, what was the home life like? What are the people like? And again, there's a power stuff that people, young, again, my bullies were people who come from broken homes who they felt strong because I
Hmm.
was weak, you know, and I don't hate them for it anymore. They did some horrible things to me, but without them, like that strengthened me a lot to my own problems, surprisingly.
Oh,
Um,
see, I think that when you is part of what makes you somebody who is, I would say, self-deprecatingly self-analytical. Is when you go through a childhood of being picked on all the time, and you're forced to look up, do nothing,
right,
analyze yourself, and look at those things. But in turn, it makes you a tougher person because, like, it's that, as I've said to you before, the Tyrion Lannister. You know, you wear it like armor. You know, and if you know what your weakness is, wear it like armor, and then it can never be used to hurt you. Like, you know, and that is the core principle, I think, behind most of what has been my mental process. Is like, well, if you're horrible to yourself, then it doesn't matter what anyone else says to you because you already know.
right, right. Uh, don't get me wrong. There have been times when people will say something that just that one. And I will be fair here, it's women. You guys are great at a bit about putting
Oh,
these
we're
little
evil.
mental who was it? Dane Cook, I think, said the thing about being mental ninjas. You plant that one thought that drives us crazy. Uh
Yep.
luckily
Yeah.
for me, Ash has not learned that technique yet.
Yes, she has. You just haven't realised it yet. She hasn't used it on you yet. She has. She was born with it. This is the thing. It was actually at Tim Pool that I was watching the other day, and a young lady on there. She was brilliant. She was part of the Walk Away campaign, and she was talking about the sort of feminism movement, and she was like the fact that we're sat here disputing whether or not like women need to be looked after by men in a society is a key is just a key example of how we are the best manipulators in the world. Oh, look at me, I'm so weak. Oh, you must protect me. Like, sort of thing. Like, no, we can protect ourselves, we just don't want to. Like, sort of thing. It's like, yeah, I think sometimes you do underestimate us as an entire species, just to how emotional and manipulative we are.
Oh no, I do not underestimate you at all. At
No,
all. That's
not me.
I do not underestimate. No.
You live with a
See,
ninja. Like,
I Ashley is amazing. I love Ashley to death. She's the greatest. But I do not underestimate her at all. To be fair, I kind of instigate things to teach her things. I won't lie on how to deal with people. uh,
See, you're opening a can of worms. You're opening a can of worms that you can't
oh
close. See, you're using all the wrong tools.
no!
Right.
I'm using the right tool. See, I have okay. So for me, I don't know if you realize this, but I do like to feel like I'm the one on the back foot. I have the underdog problem, right? I like feeling outclassed,
Right.
believe it or not. I don't know how all the ways to deal with it, but no, I'm perfectly fine teaching Ashley all these things because then at least I'll have a challenge.
Yeah, fair.
I,
No, I'm all about it. Like, yeah, you need
I mean,
someone to keep you on your toes at all times.
right? Like I said, she handles and completes a lot. For me, she takes care of things that I like. She has skills that I don't. I wish she would
Yeah,
realize she has these skills, but where she is now from where she was, her self-esteem used to be in the fucking toilet.
yeah,
And now she's standing up for herself and she's, you know, it's just one of those things that she has changed so much. And part of it is me instigating things and
yeah,
um
yeah. No, there've been times when I've talked to her where I've been like, she is like a little firecracker ready to explode.
mhm.
So I find it hard to imagine her being anything but that.
She used to be a super neat. She didn't like taking pictures. She never had any faith in her appearance or personality or anything.
Boo.
Like, yeah. Now, like you said, she's kind of like a little firecracker. She makes fun of me all the time, especially around other people, because um, and like I said, I may or may not have designed my own downfall.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. She's my international fist of fury.
Oh, 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 wow.
So
But
anyway, right. Where were we getting to? Existential. You've got about 15 minutes before I'm heading to bed. So where are we going? You've got 15 minutes to get existential. Where are you taking us?
oh, yeah, okay. So, like I said, the whole existential thing has been about what I want to do with the podcast and everything like that. And to be fair, I just want to talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about and let it come naturally onto the discussion. And I
Cool.
rather use this as my own therapy. I rather use this as therapy for us and talk about these different things. And if people like to hear it, they like to hear it. If not, well, sorry,
Yeah,
Um, I'm taking the way that I treat other people and the way that I do things into this because it works. It works for
yeah,
me, and it obviously works for you. So, and we got great people coming on. We have Happy and everything like that, and we definitely have other people who said they would join us at some point. So, I think give it a few months. Let us get used to it and get a
yeah. Absolutely. Get into the swing of things.
yep. So this isn't going to be perfect. I don't see much growth for the next couple of months, but
That's cool because I was like, you asked me stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how much I've got to offer, to be honest. Like,
you have a
as
okay.
I
We're not doing that.
stated at
We're
the
not doing
beginning of
this.
this.
We're not doing this. No,
Oh,
you
sorry,
have a
just self
lot.
deprecation at the door.
Oh yeah, no. I have it in spades, but that is not like again. If I didn't I don't give a fuck if you have anything to offer. You have things to offer me. I don't care if you have anything to offer to the podcast.
Wicked. That's all right then.
But you
Because
have
I
a
do talk a
lot
lot
of
of shit.
You do. But But the fact of the matter, I didn't ask you to come here because I just thought, "Oh, yay, pretty lady, come onto my thing." No, you are funny, you are intelligent, and you have honestly, you're really awesome. You have a lot
Thank
of personality.
you.
And
Thank.
also I'm gonna tell you the same thing I tell other people, and I tell this to myself. Your opinion does not matter in this situation. Mine does.
Awesome. Wicked. That works for me. I was gonna say, like, I probably went full Ricky Bobby, like I don't know what to do with my hands. Then so, until you went, your opinion doesn't matter, and I was like, great, fantastic, because it's probably bullshit anyway.
Well, our opinions of ourselves are usually skewed one way or another, and
I think
yeah.
my opinion of the world is bullshit as well, to be honest. Like, I like to think that I've got it all coherent. Thing is in my head, it all makes sense. And then, like, as per usual, I try to put it into words and it all just comes out as gibberish. So, yeah, it's all right. It works. It works just about. I mean, it's fairly entertaining gibberish half the time.
Oh, we'll
I
just create
reckon.
our own language. We'll just create our own language.
Yeah,
That
that's all
way,
right. Cool.
yeah,
No,
that's the answer, right? Like, so if you don't have the, so we just make up words at this point, right?
brilliant. I am fully down for that. I was going to say it was more to the point now when we started and you introduced me and I was like, can't even form actual words. So yeah, if you're happy with like making your own language that it sounds like alien drivel, then yeah, go for it.
Hey, fair enough. I mean, we'll just hire a squid. It'll go great. Or is it an octopus? No, it's octopus. Octopus are
A
the alien
squidtopus.
species. Yes.
Yes, I tell you what, octopus are the alien species. I had a friend when I was at college, and he was like straight up, he was like petrified of octopus, and I was like, do you understand what an octopus is? He's like, I know fully what an octopus is. Like, you know, they live in the sea. He was like, do you understand that they can live out of water for this amount of time and they can fit through any hole? So there's one that they could essentially fit through the keyholes on my door. They could fit around my door and then he could get around my face whilst I'm asleep and I mean, the length of fantasy that you've had to go to get to the point where this octopus has actually killed you is beyond like fathomable. But at the same time, we do live relatively close to the sea, and we've got what you call a sea life centre. So it's like a sea sanctuary. And we've
Yeah.
got various different sea animals, and they're kept in sort of tanks. It's not far from the sea, but yeah, and there's octopuses in there, octopi, or however the plural works. And he was like, it's literally like 10 minutes away. Like it could get here, it could hold its breath long enough to get to my house. And I was like, I mean, logistically, yes, but
Wow.
but ever since then, I have been slightly unnerved by the presence of them because he told me, and I actually did the research and found out that everything he said about an octopus is 100% correct. I was like, yeah, okay, these things, they are not of this world. They are not fucking normal, and they should not
Well,
be trusted.
you have to understand is that I'm a giant fan to the point of that there is a joke about me being a Cthulhian horror of Cthulhu, who
Yeah,
is a squid dragon thing.
I know who Cthulhu is.
Yes. And one of the
Yeah.
funniest pictures is the octopus grabbing a gut person go and they have it. Can we do you have time to talk about our Lord and Savior Cthulhu?
I know exactly the picture you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah. So I have a fascination with them. I'm not scared of them. Honestly, they're kind of adorable.
Yeah, I can see that.
Horrible alien creatures, but yeah, no. Like one of the things that you have to understand, like they can consistently break out of any confinement.
When I've seen some of the documentaries I've seen about them, that's the one. I'm sure it's the one of the David Attenborough ones. The David Attenborough, National Treasure of the UK. And it's these octopus that they gather shells and they disguise themselves by clinging like this. Each one of their suckers to grab like a shell or a rock, and then they sort of wrap their arms around them and make themselves look like a rock because they've used it, and it is absolutely phenomenal to watch. Some of the
Yeah.
skills that they have is insane. And of course, they've got like multiple brains, haven't they?
Yep.
So,
Well, yeah, yeah. They're super smart, clever, um, and and they're very stealthy. Like that's what the focus of their whole thing. And just imagine, back in the past, supposedly there were giant versions of them.
yeah, no thanks.
But no, like I said, like octopus are interesting. They're though nowhere near as scary as spider crabs.
Oh, spiders.
No, spider crabs.
What's wrong with spider crabs? I mean, this is not. I've met one.
You met a
Um,
spider crab?
yeah, they're not the gigantic ones. They're the slightly smaller ones. They're still pretty big. They've still got sort of like about a meter, like meter or two leg span. We've got one
Yeah.
at there's the sea sanctuary. But yeah, not the gigantic ones that you guys have.
Oh, we don't have them. They're Japanese. The Japanese
Yeah,
spider crab. They're
yeah,
fucking huge, horrifying. Like I'm pretty sure they're the inspiration for things like The Thing. John Carpenter's The
right.
Thing.
War of
These
the
things
Worlds.
actually come. Yeah, these things come out of my nightmares. These actually come out of my nightmares.
Spiders come out of my nightmares.
No, I like most spiders. Just the whole
No,
fucking the fucking uh like I said, I'm looking at them right now, and just the giant fucking legs, the pincer claws that are like have multiple joints, and ugh.
yeah, no. It's there's. I've got to remember the name of the bird now as well. There's an evil bird. I will remember the name of it, and if I don't remember the name of it, I will come back with it next time. But there is a bird that looks like it is born directly from hell. It's almost dinosaur looking. It's gigantic. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like got a bill on it that looks like it's ready to hack your heart straight out of your chest. So there are some evil looking things, but spiders are above all things on this planet. They are evil. They have been the peak of their evolution for millions of years. They will outlive us by generations. Like long
Yeah.
after humans have died, they will inherit the earth. Like they are just biding their time. I tell you.
Well, they'll have to fight. They'll have to fight the scorpions for it. But yes,
Scorpions are all right. I am Scorpio, so
right. Uh,
so a certain amount of sympathy.
so only thing I want to talk about that is really cool. That's just something that's really cool. To end this off with is, do you know what the pistol shrimp is?
No.
So the pistol shrimp is this little tiny shrimp, and it's got one big arm that it cocks like a gun, and it stuns its prey with a sonic attack underwater.
I mean, I feel like I do know about this. Now you've explained it to me, but I mean, like, how cool is that?
I know, right? They are so cool. And they come in different colors and style. There's even see-through ones.
I feel like there must be a YouTube compilation where people have taken shots of them and then just put little pew noises over.
Oh, there
Like,
has to be.
there has to be something out there that exists like that. I'm going to find
But oh man. Anyways, I think we have had all our fun for the day. We're now so I think we should do our final statements. How was your time today?
it's been a giggle. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, hasn't it?
Yep.
We went from existential to pew prawns. Pew pew. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
This is pretty much probably what the formula of the show is going to be.
yeah, I get used to it. Yeah, I'm starting to feel a bit more comfortable and in my element now. I have to say.
So, but yeah, I personally had a lot of fun talking about all these different things and going on little tangents, and yeah, it was a good time.
It has been a good time. I've enjoyed it.
So, you have anything else you want to say?
No, keep keeping on. I guess if anyone's listening in, keep up the good fight. Tomorrow is another day. As Kimmy Schmidt said, it's a terrible series, but 10 seconds at a time. You just got to take everything 10 seconds at a time, and we'll be back before you know it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, anyways, I guess that will be the end of our show. Thank you for joining the Spoken Word with Raz. I'm Raz signing off. Say bye, Morgan.
And see you later, guys.
You all have a wonderful evening.